A quiet, modern kitchen, holding a tiny, fragile ingredient that once commanded mighty, ancient empires. Gaze deeply into this minuscule shell as we plunge backward through the sands of time to a forgotten realm. Beyond the fragile exterior lies a fierce history, where mere seeds could overthrow and conquer powerful kings and gods. Welcome to the cradle of civilization. A harsh and unforgiving landscape that brutally tested every single living organism. In this desolate, burning wasteland, life demands an incredible resilience and raw strength just to barely survive. Merciless winds tear across the plains, threatening to bury anything that dares to stand against the absolute fury. Yet the humble wild sesame remains unbroken, anchoring its roots deep within the shadowed earth, defying the scorching sun. Far from the safety of modern cultivation, this plant thrived in total and absolute isolation, mastering the cruel elements. It forged a secret pact with the earth, drawing life from the absolute deepest, darkest veins of a barren world. When the rare rains finally descended, the resilient wilderness eagerly drank the precious, fleeting droplets, preparing for a glorious rebirth. Every single drop of moisture was sacred, stored carefully within its small and unassuming frame, a silent, hidden treasure. Underneath the vast canopy of starlight, this tough survivor silently multiplied across the harsh dunes, undisturbed by human greed. It formed tight capsules of armor, locking away rich and concentrated drops of liquid gold, far from prying eyes. For countless millennia, it waited patiently, growing wild in a harsh, forgotten, and empty land, an untamed desert survivor. Then, with a sudden dry snap, the pod bursts open to reveal its hidden wealth, changing human history forever. The scattered seeds are quickly buried alive, hiding deeply within the shifting, burning sands, a completely unseen natural phenomenon. Underground, the tiny shell slowly breaks apart, pushing a fragile but fierce green shoot straight towards the cruel surface. Vast plains stretch endlessly toward the horizon, where scattered patches of resilient green plants miraculously conquer the barren wasteland. A solitary leaf battles the fierce winds, gripping tightly to its precious morning dew, defying the inevitable harsh drought. Thunder rolls violently across the darkened sky, bringing a sudden and explosive desert rainstorm, awakening countless dormant seeds instantly. Heavy raindrops hammer the delicate wild stems, gently bending to absorb the brutal impact, completely refusing to be broken. The storm passes, leaving a transformed landscape, illuminating a newly flourishing green desert oasis, born from pure survival instincts. Mud bakes rapidly under the intense heat, firmly locking the precious moisture deep underground, saving the delicate roots below. Seasons shift relentlessly across the ancient valleys, unleashing deadly heat and freezing cold nights, testing every single living creature. Tiny bellflowers bloom with pale hues, attracting early insects with a subtle fragrance, a quiet dance of ancient nature. Shadows lengthen as the sun sets completely, painting the vast dunes in rich purple, while nocturnal hunters begin stalking. The plant closes its petals for protection, resting silently in the chilling night breeze, preparing for another brutal dawn. Generations of wild sesame lived and died, quietly enriching the barren soil of Mesopotamia, unnoticed by early wandering tribes. A fully mature pod hangs heavily downward, swollen with the promise of golden oil, waiting for the perfect moment. Soon, wandering human footsteps will approach closely, discovering this miraculous tiny capsule of energy, forever altering the fate of mankind. The first human hands reach out tentatively, gathering the tiny scattered seeds from the unforgiving desert landscape. Rough fingertips gently crush the dry pods, revealing a cascade of pale treasures, gleaming softly in the light. Small nomadic settlements slowly transform into empires, driven by the newfound agricultural wealth rising alongside the mighty rivers. Heavy stone mortars grind the precious harvest, releasing a rich and intoxicating aroma, captivating the earliest human kings. Caravans begin to cross the brutal sands, carrying jars filled with liquid gold to distant and hungry cities. A single drop of pressed sesame oil catches the flickering amber firelight, shining brighter than pure gold. The towering ziggurats of Babylon pierce the sky, casting long shadows over bustling markets, built upon trade and ambition. Clay tablets are deeply inscribed with reeds, recording vast debts paid in seeds, establishing a new global currency. Royal granaries overflow with the tiny white pearls, heavily guarded by fiercely loyal soldiers, protecting the empire's true wealth. Fine linen cloths strain the thick paste, filtering the essence of the earth for the highest noble classes. Temples burn fragrant oils through the night, offering the sweet smoke to gods, seeking divine favor and endless prosperity. A high priest dips his weathered fingers, blessing the sacred stone altar completely with the holy golden liquid. Markets echo with the shouts of aggressive traders, exchanging exotic spices for simple seeds, linking distant worlds and cultures. A brass scale balances perfectly in silence, weighing a handful of tiny seeds against solid pieces of silver. The legend of the magical seed spreads far, reaching the dark corners of the world, where myths are slowly born. Huge ships arrive at the magnificent city, bringing endless supplies of foreign silver to trade for the golden oil. A skilled merchant carefully opens his pouch, counting out the tiny, fragrant seeds as if they were solid diamonds. The towering royal granaries are heavily fortified, protecting the immense wealth of kings, stored within thousands of earthen jars. Wet clay receives the harsh reed stylus, recording massive debts paid in sesame, binding commoners to the rich elite. Sun-baked streets overflow with eager, aggressive buyers, desperate to acquire the liquid gold before the long, brutal winter begins. A single drop falls into the bronze, shining brightly against the dark metal, confirming its absolute purity and worth. Grand feasts illuminate the vast royal palace, where noble lords consume the harvest, while the poorest citizens quietly starve. Thick, golden liquid coats the roasted meats, dripping slowly onto the silver platters, a profound display of infinite luxury. The entire empire sleeps under the stars, entirely illuminated by the burning oil, casting long shadows across stone walls. A twisted linen wick drinks the essence, feeding a bright and steady flame, driving away the deep, ancient darkness. Armed soldiers patrol the outer city limits, guarding the vast, endless agricultural fields, protecting the fragile source of power. The royal seal is pressed firmly down, locking the clay envelope very tight, securing a debt meant for generations. Vast fortunes are made and quickly lost, heavily depending on the autumn harvest, determined by the unpredictable harsh weather. A heavy bronze lock secures the vault, keeping the empire's true treasures safe, far from the reach of thieves. The mighty ruler gazes from his throne, silently watching his prosperous kingdom thrive, fueled completely by the tiny seeds. The legendary phrase is whispered softly, unlocking the heavily fortified stone doors, revealing unimaginable ancient wealth. Torches flicker in the damp darkness, illuminating countless golden treasures hidden inside, protected by magic words. Myths of the magical passwords spread, captivating the minds of wandering storytellers across the endless deserts. A mystical incantation echoes very faintly, commanding the solid rock to yield, a power beyond kings. The popping sound of ripening pods inspired the ancient tales of unlocking magical barriers and gates. Secret underground chambers hold the harvest, guarding the liquid gold from thieves with deadly, hidden traps. Mystics burn the sacred fragrant seeds, inhaling the heavy smoke during rituals, seeking visions of tomorrow. Shadows dance on the temple walls, masking the secret ceremonies of priests, performing the sacred rites. An ancient scroll is unrolled, carefully, displaying the magical formula written boldly, securing the hidden vault. The wealth of a fallen king lies completely buried beneath the sand, waiting for the password. A silver coin changes hands quietly, purchasing the dangerous secret of entry to the forbidden chamber. Bandits wait patiently in the shadows, watching the heavy stone doorway closely, preparing for their ambush. The mighty spell is spoken aloud, vibrating through the cold cavern walls, breaking the ancient seal. A blinding light bursts forth suddenly, revealing a staggering mountain of treasure hidden by the ancients. The simple seed birthed a legend, transforming agriculture into pure, mesmerizing magic across the ancient world. The great empire demands more oil, fueling the relentless engine of greed, exploiting thousands of desperate human lives. Heavy wooden beams crush the seeds, extracting every single precious golden drop under the intense and crushing pressure. Dark underground cellars suffocate the workers, trapped within the dense, humid air, working tirelessly day and brutal night. Salty sweat drips into the dust, mixing silently with the crushed husks, a hidden and tragic human cost. Chained slaves push the massive millstones, walking in endless circles of despair, fueling the extravagant lives of kings. Bleeding hands grip the rough wood, pushing forward despite the overwhelming pain, bound to the heavy stone wheels. Merciless overseers crack their heavy whips, demanding far more from the exhausted, keeping the precious liquid flowing endlessly. A broken clay jar lies forgotten, spilling its invaluable contents completely away, soaking rapidly into the barren dirt. Rich merchants count their growing fortunes, ignoring the immense suffering below them, blinded by the shiny silver coins. Thick golden oil fills the barrels, representing raw power and unyielding dominance, carefully sealed for the royal elite. The once fertile fields turn barren, exhausted by the endless aggressive farming, leaving the naked soil deeply scarred. A single dried pod crumbles completely, blowing away in the harsh wind, leaving absolutely nothing behind but dust. Angry whispers echo through the cellars, sparking the dangerous flames of rebellion against the cruel and greedy empire. A stolen pouch of tiny seeds becomes the absolute symbol of hope, carefully hidden in dirty, tattered rags. The shadows of Babylon grow longer, signaling the inevitable decline of kings, drowning in their own immense greed. Mighty foreign armies march fiercely through the gates, bringing absolute destruction and fire, ending the great ancient era. The heavy golden crown of the mighty king falls, shattering quickly into countless worthless pieces, burying the ancient royal legacy. Fleeing survivors escape the burning ruins of their home, carrying only a few small hidden pouches, protecting the true ancient treasure. A single perfect seed rests silently in the ash, waiting patiently for the coming rain, preparing for a new journey. Massive wooden ships carry the survivors across dark oceans, spreading the magical golden seeds to completely unknown, distant lands. Strange new soil embraces the tough and resilient roots, offering a gentle, quiet sanctuary, far from the brutal wars. Green fields begin to flourish under a foreign sun, whispering the forgotten ancient legends across the vast, peaceful valleys. A heavy stone press crushes the fresh seasonal harvest, releasing the familiar golden liquid for a completely different culture. Silent monks use the holy oil in deep meditation, illuminating the dark temple halls, searching for profound spiritual peace. Fragrant smoke rises slowly from the glowing hot coals, carrying quiet prayers to heaven, honoring the tiny, resilient seed. Weary travelers walk slowly along the endless Silk Road, trading the rare exotic spice for beautiful, soft, woven silk. An ornate bronze bell chimes clearly in the wind, signaling the arrival of merchants, carrying the liquid desert gold. The expanding Roman Empire eagerly welcomes the tiny spice, adding it to royal feasts, celebrating the rich, exotic flavor. Skilled bakers carefully sprinkle the pearls over fresh dough, creating a beautiful rustic crust, beloved by the hungry citizens. The humble wild plant successfully conquered the entire globe, never spilling a single drop of human blood in battle. Modern cities rise where ancient empires once stood, carrying the profound and quiet legacy into a bright new age. Massive steel machines now harvest the endless fields, replacing the painful, bloody human toil with swift and cold efficiency. Giant cargo ships cross the vast blue oceans, delivering the ancient desert liquid gold to every corner of Earth. Glass bottles are filled with absolute perfect precision, capturing the exact same nutty aroma that once seduced Babylonian kings. Brightly lit supermarket aisles display the tiny seeds, standing quietly beside thousands of products, an invisible but powerful emperor. A celebrated chef carefully garnishes a delicate plate, honoring the deep and brutal history, with a final artistic touch. The story returns to the warm, quiet kitchen, where the epic historical journey ends, resting peacefully on a plate. Golden crusts of baked bread hold the pearls, just as they did in Rome, thousands of long years ago. People gather joyfully around the bright dining table, sharing food and sharing warm stories, completely unaware of the past. A rich amber drop falls into the bowl, echoing the ancient spells of magic, opening doors to lost realms. The busy kitchen slowly fades into deep silence, leaving only the simple glass jar, standing proudly in the shadows. Inside the fragile glass rests an ancient survivor, carrying the memories of fallen kings and the whispers of slaves. The heavy price of power has been paid, transforming a humble wild desert plant into an immortal global treasure. One tiny magical capsule of pure golden energy, waiting patiently for the next command to open up the world. Whenever this ancient spice graces a modern plate, remember the profound and brutal journey hidden inside a single seed.